We now bring in the coach of Carson-Newman women's basketball, Mike Mincey, following just the second loss of the year. And, Coach, we knew this game would be tough. We knew that this situation would be tough, but I don't think that we would have drawn up what we drew up. All 5 starters in the minus on the plus-minus chart. The bench played great.
Yeah.
What do you attribute the sluggish struggles from the starting 5 today?
That I don't have an answer for, but your first question is exactly what we acknowledged in the locker room, that in my 10 years of coaching, I don't think I've ever seen a situation to where all of our starters are – I mean, and when they're in the negative, I'm talking they're in the negative big time. And we lose the game by 5 points. I mean, we got one guy negative 19, negative 14, 2 at 11. I mean, the starters, that we've relied on them so much. They've played great throughout the year. And I told them, we're all in this together. We're all coached the same way. We all have the same system. We all have the same plays. And our bottom 6, they're not bottom, but the second 6 came in, and they're all in the positive, basically. So I don't know what to attribute that to. I think they got off to a bad start. I think we missed some bunnies early. They just never got a flow playing against the man in the zone, whereas the bench guys came in and did much better.
Well, let's talk about the positive side of that, because the bench season high 26 points, and really their hustle and energy was a game changer for you, and really the only reason why you were able to lead as long as you did. Mm-hmm. What can you say about that group's effort?
Well, they were just better on the defensive end in both halves in terms of how they were moving, because we were in man, and then in the second half they started putting their head down, and we were getting called for some calls, trying to stay in front and put them on the bonus. So then we had to go zone, and the second group just played much better, in the zone, moved better, getting stops, probably rebounded better. I'll have to look at the rebound situation better. But and then, we tried to give the starters another try there to start the fourth. And, again, they just never could get going. And, you hate to lose, but we've been skating by anyway in some of these road contests, and a loss like this can kind of really propel you, in my opinion, as you move into the last game of the season going into the tournament.
I want to talk about the fouls, because it was 18-8 in the second half. You committed 10 more fouls than they did. I don't want to talk about the validity of that or get into any of those conversations. How much did that impact? You mentioned the fact that you had to go to zone. How much did that impact how you were coaching the game, knowing that the whistles were frequent?
Well, I mean, when you're trying to play, they're a team that likes to put their head down and go, and their dribble drive, and when, like I said, we're trying our best to stay in front, and when we're getting body calls and things like that, I mean, you just can't continue to do that and put them at the free throw line. So once we realized that's how they're going to call the game, then we had to go stand in the zone and try to limit that penetration with the zone. And I don't know how well that worked in terms of keeping them off the line, but I think at one point in time, it was like 13-1 on fouls, 13-2, and were we getting any calls or not? I have no idea. I didn't feel like the game was really called bad. I just felt like, if we can't stay in front of them with our body, then we're probably not going to be able to do it. We're going to have to get out of it and go to the zone.
Limestone entered this game minus 10 for rebound margin on the season. That's the 15th worst margin in the country.
Yeah. They
out-rebound you by 5. What lessons do you take away from that?
Well, I think, they wanted to beat us, clearly. We've talked about it all the time about the bullseye on your back. And so they're crashing the boards and crashing hard. And, especially in the first half, we just had opportunity after opportunity to go get rebounds, and we didn't do it. Teams are going in and just kind of slapping at the ball, and instead of us squeezing it, we're just not doing it. We're just playing too finesse. And we had a conversation about that after the Coker game, going into the Mars Hill game, that, we just got to get tougher. That's just all there is to it. And we did a much better job coming home to Mars Hill tonight. As you can see, us getting out-rebounded with the size that we have is uncalled for. And, sometimes we don't play a ton of zone. Sometimes when you're zone, it's kind of hard to rebound, but it's really no excuse. I mean, we got size. We got guys that can go get it, same as the opponent can go get it. So to get out-rebounded in that situation is a disappointing situation for a coach.
You mentioned how a game like this can propel you. I think that a lot of teams in college basketball say that they don't want that huge winning streak going into the postseason. They want to maybe get one where it's a good teaching moment. What is the teaching moment out of this game?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I reminisce back to 3 years ago. We were in the same situation, and we lost the game, our next to last game of the season, and had to regroup. And, you hate to lose. But, again, we've statistically, we've been on the road. We've done some things, whether it be rebounding, turnovers, or whatever, because we turned the ball over a crap ton today too. that we probably shouldn't have won the game, but we got good enough pieces that we figured out a way to do it. And, you know, it would have been great if we'd have pulled this one out. But you can learn a lot about yourself. And I would expect when our starters show up, assuming we still have the same 5 that start on Wednesday, that their mindset will be a little bit different on Wednesday night when we tip at 5:30. It won't be the, hey, let's show up and let's be whatever. Like, no, you got to work to win games, and that's what I'm expecting to see. And so we'll take off tomorrow. We'll prepare Monday and Tuesday. And, you know, we've had a great season. We got one regular season game left before going to the tournament. You know, we're not going to lose our mind over this. I tell them all the time, one game's not going to define us at all. A lot of good teams in the country losing games this year. I mean, to go on the road, you got a team that's hungry. There's no shame in that. And they're a good team. You know, I don't care what the record says. You know, they've been on quarantine, all that kind of crap. I mean, it affects you. So we'll learn from it. We'll move on, and we'll be ready to go Wednesday night.